Imagine the night sky tearing open. Instead of sirens fading into quiet, hundreds of pounds of explosives are falling from the sky directly into residential streets, turning quiet neighborhoods into immediate disaster zones. Across the southern Israeli towns of Arad and Dimona, incoming Iranian ballistic missiles left 180 people injured, filling local emergency rooms with severe crush and shrapnel wounds. The sheer kinetic force of the impacts gouged out the walls of everyday apartment blocks, leaving dark-suited residents of this ultra-Orthodox community staring into the deep craters where their streets used to be. Hitting these specific, remote southern towns is entirely intentional. Iran is using the destruction of these civilian homes to deliver a highly calculated geopolitical message. To understand why, you have to look at where Arad and Dimona sit within the vast, barren expanse of the Negev desert. Just 13 kilometers, an 8-minute drive from where those missiles landed, is the Shimon Peres Negev Nuclear Research Center. Officially, the government designates this isolated compound strictly for research, but it's an open secret that this site holds Israel's undeclared nuclear weapons. By dropping heavy warheads right on the edge of this civilian buffer zone, Iran is actively threatening Israel's ultimate strategic deterrent, stopping exactly one step short of a direct hit that would trigger a full nuclear response. The path to these strikes in the Negev began weeks earlier, at the start of the current phase of the war on February 28th. The United States and Israel aligned on a massive shared military objective: the total elimination of Iran's physical capacity to build a nuclear bomb. To achieve that, the U.S.-Israeli coalition aimed their initial strikes squarely at Natanz, which houses Iran's most critical nuclear facilities. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization responded immediately, declaring the strike on Natanz a direct violation of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The Non-Proliferation Treaty is an international agreement designed to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and their supporting technology. For decades, these two nations restricted their conflicts to covert sabotage and assassinations. Now, they are openly dropping ordnance on each other's nuclear epicenters. Iran answered the February 28th attack with overwhelming physical volume, firing 400 ballistic missiles at Israeli territory. To survive an incoming barrage of this magnitude, Israel relies on its advanced air defense network to track trajectories and launch interceptors at high altitude. This diagram shows the success rate of the air defense network. 92% of the 400 Iranian missiles were intercepted, but the math is unforgiving. An 8% failure rate means dozens of ballistic missiles, carrying hundreds of kilograms of explosives, penetrated the shield. When an enemy fires warheads of this magnitude, a near-perfect defense system still mathematically guarantees mass devastation on the ground. You can see the consequences of those statistical failures in the streets of Arad. Local paramedics described pulling terrified children from the wreckage of their own apartments, treating severe head and chest injuries caused by collapsing ceilings. A direct hit from one of these payloads completely gutted family homes, shattered community infrastructure, and leveled a neighborhood kindergarten. Yet the International Atomic Energy Agency, the global intergovernmental forum that monitors nuclear technology, confirmed there is zero evidence of damage to the actual research facility outside Dimona. The grim tactical reality is laid bare. The nuclear reactors themselves are entombed in heavily fortified concrete bunkers. The civilians living around them are entirely exposed, functioning as a soft, physical buffer against incoming fire. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu walked through these shattered residential blocks to personally inspect the physical breach of the nation's air defense system. While foreign attacks routinely hardened the resolve of the Israeli public, watching high-yield explosives flatten local kindergartens successfully destroys the psychological safety of the entire country. The region is now locked in a deadly strategic stalemate. As long as the U.S. and Israel attempt to dismantle Iran's nuclear infrastructure, Iran will continue dropping heavy ballistics around Israel's most sensitive domestic sites. The era of fighting through computer viruses, covert operatives, and proxy militias is officially over. In a direct, escalating war over absolute nuclear supremacy, the highest price is inevitably paid by unprotected civilians.